SummerSlam this past weekend was truly a weekend to remember. From the impactful return of the Viper Randy Orton to the massive victory over Brock Lesnar at the hands of Obafemi, all the way to the most iconic and one of the most instant classic SummerSlam matches in history between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. And even several new champions were crowned, including Chad Gable winning the Intercontinental Championship finally for the first time in his career. From Baron Corbin winning the U.S. title for the second time in his career, and Chelsea Green doing the unthinkable of becoming women's champion. Who would have ever thought? Now the question becomes this: what does the road to Money in the Bank look like as we draw closer and closer to that very event in October in New Orleans? Well, there's definitely a lot to talk about in such a short amount of time. Starting obviously with, if I can get my book out, obviously starting with night one, where obviously night one kicked off with Io Sky versus Liv Morgan for the women's world title. Now, because of the slight interference from Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez of the Judgment Day, Liv Morgan was able to silence the doubters and retain her title, in spite of the fact that that was her very first title defense ever. Liv Morgan said in a recent interview that she wanted to go 1,000 days. At least she wanted to become women's world champion for at least 1,000 days, which in her mind would make her the greatest women's world champion of all time. But in reality, the only way that she could ever be the greatest of all time is if she surpassed Roman Reigns' reign as WWE champion of 1,316 days. Is it possible? Absolutely. Can it really be done? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. But that leaves the question of what would be next for both Liv Morgan and Io Sky. Obviously, for Liv, she wants to get past Io Sky and move on with her career. For Io, I think it's pretty safe to say that she will not stop her hunt of becoming women's world champion for the second time in her career. And I think it's pretty safe to say that if Liv Morgan really wants to become the greatest of all time, we could potentially see her go after Money in the Bank, which is a very high possibility because she competed in the Queen of the Ring tournament earlier this year. Why not qualify for Money in the Bank? Why not? I mean, it's quite the possibility, but of course, only time will tell. The Bloodline versus LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Solo Sikoa. Man, I can honestly say that rivalry, it's far from done. I think at this point, the only thing that I can say about it is that the Usos and Jacob Fatu are not going to take that loss lightly because of the fact that they lost to three guys who only banded together because of the Bloodline. And with their victory over the Bloodline, I think it's pretty safe to say that Solo, Knight, and Keys, they want to get past the BS They want to get past the bullshit that is the bloodline. But think about this. We saw on Saturday LA Knight and Solo Sikoa embracing after their victory. They were once rivals, then they teamed up together and won. You guys will have to excuse me for a second. Something just came up. I'll be right back. Alright, you guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. Dogs barking. Had to calm them down a little bit. But anyway, could there be a possibility that Solo Sikoa and LA Knight team up together full time? I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, we saw Solo Sikoa truly come out of his shell as of late and truly enjoy his time in WWE, because when he was in the bloodline, when he was a part of NXT, he was just he had this like mean look, this mean mugged look on his face that was just like, I'm here to whip somebody's ass and leave. And for Solo, even this past Saturday, I mean, to be fair, the last year, over the course of the last year, Solo Sikoa has started to truly come out of his shell. And then Saturday, I mean, we saw Solo do the Yeet Party with the entire WWE universe, which obviously pissed off Jey Uso, which is very funny. But I think it's safe to say that this whole thing between the Usos and Fatu and Knight and Solo and Keys, it's definitely not over just yet. For all we know, this could potentially lead to War Games, which is possible. But I don't know if Roman would be up for the idea of being inside War Games. I'm not entirely sure. Because as far as we know, the women's, as far as the women's division goes, when it comes to War Games, it can go one of two ways. It can either be Fatal Influence, or it can be Jade Cargill and her crew. Then again, for all we know, both trios could unite, and we could have ourselves a first time ever 6-on-6 War Games match for the women's division. But that's about 3 months away, and it's still too early to decide. Gunther and Nick Aldis. I think at this point, this now becomes just strictly professional between the two. I know that we will see Nick Aldis get back in the ring again. It's a matter of when and whether or not the conditions are perfect. Because I mean SummerSlam, I mean the timing was right. Nick Aldis had always dreamt of wanting to get in a WWE ring. He got to live out his dream, and even in spite of the loss, excuse me, he proved that he can still go. But now he is back as GM of SmackDown. And as far as Gunther goes, I'm not so sure if Gunther is gonna rub it in his face that he won or not. Then again, all this could potentially make Gunther's life a living hell, but only time will tell, even in spite of the fact that all this made the executive decision to make a number one contenders match from a one-on-one match to a fatal four-way, which we will get to in a bit. Speaking of fatal influence, again, it's as I said, right? It can go one of two ways. It can either be Jade Cargill and her crew plus, I don't know. I guess maybe the Irresistible Forces, or it could be Fatal Influence and the Bellas, because we saw on Saturday, we saw JC Jane pin Brie Bella to win for Fatal Influence, which again we saw the Bellas attack Paige after the match. So if it ends up becoming Fatal Influence and the Bellas, odds are it'll probably be them plus Paige, potentially AJ Lee, and three others that had their issues with Fatal Influence. But I'm pretty sure that's not going to be the case. I think personally it's going to end up being Jade Cargill and her crew against Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Tiffany Stratton, and Chelsea Green. I think that's going to be the quartet that faces off against Jade Cargill and her crew, which is B-Fab and Michan, and whoever else decides to team up with Jade, which most likely it'll probably be the Irresistible Forces after what happened over the last couple weeks, which led to SummerSlam. Only time will tell. Punk and Cody. Let's be real. I think it's a good thing that WWE decided to push Cody away from the WWE title picture, because now Cody can put his focus on Randy. And I would say give it about a year and have Cody just get away from the WWE title picture. And don't get me wrong, I understand why Cody wants to be WWE champion, and I totally get it, right? Us as fans, you guys and myself, we all understand why. He wants to live up. Not only does he want to live up to the Rhodes name, but he also wants to, in a matter of speaking, he wants to do the things that Roman Reigns did when he was WWE champion, which was take WWE to a whole nother level. And I totally get that. But because that he has won that very same WWE title every time he loses, in the eyes of a lot of the members of the WWE universe, it becomes a habit to where the fans believe that WWE is trying to push Cody Rhodes' momentum down their throats, telling the fans, hey, this guy, Cody Rhodes, cheer for him. Do the whoa. Do all this shit for Cody Rhodes. He's the guy. They did the exact same thing with Roman Reigns over a decade ago, and it backfired. It backfired big time. I think that's what WWE was trying to do with Cody, but I think because of the interference from Randy Orton, I think it was a smart decision to get Cody out of the title picture. So now Cody can now focus on his rivalry with Randy. Punk can focus now on his match with Kevin Owens for Punk's WWE title, which we'll get to that in a bit. And I think give it about another year, we'll see Cody go after the WWE title. But I think for now, even going past WrestleMania 43 next year in Riyadh, Cody needs to get away from that title picture and maybe focus on becoming a Grand Slam champion, because people forget there's one championship that Cody has yet to win, and it is the United States Championship, now being held by Baron Corbin, which we'll talk about that in a second. So I think it's safe to say that WWE definitely made the right call. So as far as like what could be next, I mean, those two, Punk and Cody, definitely are gonna go at it again at some point, but we will just have to wait and see. Hell in a Cell, man. There are so many mixed reactions to it. On one hand, I mean, you had two big dudes that fought, that beat the hell out of each other for like what, 10-15 minutes. And some people believe that it was not the right call for Oba to win, but on the other hand, Obafemi needed to prove that he is the future of professional wrestling, but in reality, Obafemi is the now of professional wrestling. And by defeating Brock Lesnar, one could argue that Obafemi could very may well go after a championship, which, again, because that he is still king of the ring, he has yet to decide who he wants to go after. Does he go after Roman Reigns? Or does he go after CM Punk? Honestly, it's too hard to call, because when you really look at it, it comes down to one question. It comes down to how he approaches that situation. Because if he goes after Roman Reigns, while it is true that yes, Roman Reigns has done everything on his own this entire year alone, which has been amazing, by the way, incredible for Roman, one could argue that the bloodline could play a huge factor going into that matchup against Oba. But if Oba goes after Punk, we all know damn well it's going to be an instant classic, and it ain't going to be pretty. So we'll have to wait and see. But as far as like what could be next for Brock Lesnar, I don't think he's done. I do not think he's done. I think he still has one. I in my opinion, I think he has one last match left in him, and most likely it'll be Gunther. I get it. Trust me, I get it. There's gonna be a lot of fans that are gonna hate me for saying that, and that's fine. But I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be Gunther, and the career killer will definitely kill another career. That is the beast, Brock Lesnar, which means next year, Hall of Fame. Possible? Absolutely. Bound to happen? Most likely. Night 2, Fatal 4-Way. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Gunther, Finn Balor. Man, I mean, we touched on it earlier. I'm pretty sure Sami Zayn is not going to be happy about it. And I think it's going to lead, for Sami, it's definitely going to lead to Nick Aldis getting back in the ring again, but this time against Sami Zayn. Finn has always been a man of humility, and we know that he can take his losses like a man. Sami Zayn, not so much. So I'm pretty sure that Gunther, with this loss, he'll be fine. Finn Balor will be okay. Sami Zayn is gonna make Nick Aldis' life a living hell. Throwing that out there. Trick Williams, Baron Corbin, man, I'm just gonna keep it real. This version of Baron Corbin, nobody's gonna be taking that U.S. title off of him anytime soon. Trick Williams is gonna have a tall task, but I think for Trick, I think the WWE title is gonna be what will be next for the man with the lemon pepper steppers. The ladder match, man. If I'm being real, I kind of expected, or not really. I kind of figured that we would see Rhea Ripley come back, and it would truly be for the WWE Women's Title, but the fact that Chelsea Green wins that title after being a part of the business, being a part of the wrestling world for well over a decade, 13 years plus, mind you, definitely was well worth it. I think this version of Chelsea Green is going to be more energetic, more charismatic, but is definitely going to be a fighting champion, no doubt about it. And with Tiffany Stratton backing her up, the possibilities are definitely out there. But I think it's safe to say that Jade Cargill is gonna go after Chelsea Green after her match with Charlotte and take that title off of Chelsea, which will then lead to which will potentially lead to Money in the Bank, where we will see Rhea and Jade Cargill go at it in a WrestleMania or technically Clash in Italy rematch, but you guys get the idea, to crown an undisputed women's champion. And I think it's safe to say that Chelsea Green May will become a transitional champion. Possible? Absolutely. Is it really going to happen? Only time will tell. Human Money's on a poll. I'm being real, I'm not even gonna justify it, except the fact that Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough need to get off their high horse and move the fuck on. Because Dirty Dom has to deal with El Grande Americano at Triple Mania for his AAA Mega Championship, which Dirty Dom has only defended the title at least only like what, a few times, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he has only defended the AAA Mega Championship 3 times since winning the title. And if I remember correctly, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember. Because I know that one of Dom's title defenses was on Raw. Defeating the original El Grande Americano, aka Chad Gable, and then after that, I believe I believe he had a couple others after that, but other than that, that was it. Like that was just it. Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, I think yeah, I believe he's defended the title maybe twice, maybe three times. And so I think Dom needs to prove that he is a fighting champion and just defend the title constantly to get him ready for Triple Mania against El Grande Americano. I apologize for taking too much time, but still, yeah. I mean, as far as Danhausen goes, I mean, he's just gonna do Danhausen things. Not much else to say about that. Chad Gable and Penta. Speaking of Chad Gable, he's definitely going to have a very interesting reign as Intercontinental Champion because he had 6 opportunities at that title, and every single time he has lost every single one except for last night. And I can honestly say that Penta took that loss like a man because he knew that this meant everything to Chad Gable, and so the moment that Penta tapped out, we knew that it was time for a changing of the guard. And I mean, props to Penta for such an incredible reign as champion. I think Chad Gable is going to have a much more unique reign as champion because his first championship defense could very may well be his last, which as far as the new champions go, we'll be talking about who their first challengers will be as the week progresses. So be sure to get ready for those. In spite of the fact that I still have a lot more Yu-Gi-Oh cards to talk about on the channel. But I mean, props to Penta for such an amazing reign as champion. A huge congrats to Chad Gable. We'll see where that goes. Seth and Roman. I mean, Roman said it best. They're basically wrestling soulmates, kind of like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Their careers intertwined. Seth and Roman's careers have intertwined. Basically started with that chair shot heard around the world, and that led to now. And it's funny because everybody kept saying that Dean Ambrose was going to be the future of professional wrestling. He was going to be the big star, but that ended up being a lie. Seth and Roman became the 2 biggest stars in all of professional wrestling. Like you want to talk about, like, here's the thing, right? Like, you want to talk about Hiroshi Tanahashi being a big star. You want to talk about Kenny Omega being a big star. Chris Jericho. Who else can I name? Who else can I name? Konosuke Takashita. You want to talk about him being a big star. Their careers, do not get me wrong, they are megastars. Do not get it twisted on that. But their careers pale in comparison to the amount of success that Seth and Roman had. And this was definitely the last chapter in the legacy of the Shield. And I don't think we're ever going to see the Shield together, all 3 together, unless they get inducted into the Hall of Fame, which at this point now, it can happen at any time. Because Roman said it in a recent interview that he can go for at least another 2 to 3 years. Seth, at this point now, no one knows how much time Seth has left with all the injuries he's had over the years, including multiple knee injuries, back injuries, shoulder injuries, neck injuries. There's no telling how much longer Seth can go. There's no telling. So, I mean, props to both Seth and Roman for an incredible instant classic. But as far as what can happen going into Money in the Bank, I think it's safe to say that this year's men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder matches are going to be they're going to focus strictly on the future. So when I think of the future, I think of women like Julia, women like Lash Legend, guys like JD McDonough, guys like Dragon Lee, Obafemi, Javon Evans, guys like All Ego Ethan Page. Who else? Guys like Kid Wilson, Danhausen, Joe Hendry. That's what I picture when I see the future. When I think of Money in the Bank and I talk about the future, that's what I see. So, I mean, obviously the qualifying matches won't happen for at least another month, potentially not until after Triple Mania. But I think it's pretty safe to say that we are going to see how all of this unfolds leading into Money in the Bank, because I know that Roman Reigns from now until then has to defend his title at least one other time, and for all we know, it could be against Obafemi, it could be against Seth Rollins again. For all we know, the possibilities are definitely out there, but I think Roman has truly silenced the doubters and has proven that he wants this reign to be different compared to his reign as WWE Champion. Because when he was WWE Champion, yes, he admitted that he relied so heavily on the bloodline that he felt like that his reign was while it is true that yes, his reign was historic, he felt like that his reign was surrounded by lies. And so he admitted that he wants this reign as World Heavyweight Champion to be unlike any other reign that he has ever had as a World Champion in WWE. And he's been doing that so far, which again started out at WrestleMania. It started out and then moved to Backlash, to Clash in Italy, and then obviously SummerSlam last night. I don't know. It'll be interesting to say the very least. But with that being said, that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more WWE topic videos in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.